These are some notes on academic English. You shouldn't need them. You've been studying English forever. But there are a few points that I would like to stress, even if it's in a remedial mode. Now, what I'm calling academic English here comes from the Enlightenment, when people would hang around and dress like that. We're talking about 17th, 18th century. The great discoveries of the 17th century in English were led by Newton, the discovery of the gravity and the movement of the planets, and that the universe was organized, and went through to Locke. In other languages, the same period happened. Les Lumières in French, Aufklärung in German, que es Illuminación in Spanish. It seems to be, though, that in English it had an effect on language, and not so much in other languages. I don't really know why. That's quite a mystery. Anyway, the idea behind it is that nature was discovered to be rational, since there were laws for the movements of planets and objects falling and gravity. All right. Therefore, sentences should follow nature, and those laws of nature were held to be quite simple if they were discovered, and sentences should reflect that as simply and as clearly as possible. So simplicity and clarity reign. Sure, every language, every speakers of every language say their language is the clearest. I remember learning French and being told, this is, you will learn how to think clearly when you think in French. Okay. In English, though, those values were embedded in what are supposed to be precise and objective values, and they come out in certain principles. Short, clear sentences. Brevity is paramount in English. It's a good thing. In other languages, I'll show you some examples. In other languages, brevity is bad. It says, hey, you don't know much. You haven't got lots to say. And there are other things like a preference for the present tense, which suggests an eternal truth, like the movements of the planets. We now know that Newton was wrong. That's what Einstein showed. But at the time, truth is beauty, beauty is truth. The sentence should be quite simple. Because that truth is in nature and not in the observer for the Enlightenment, people avoided the first person. And you know that English, academic English, classically uses a lot of passives to avoid the first person. As in here, X is shown to be, right? And then the language would not be marked for regionality. That is, you're not going to show your working class origins or middle class or upper class. You're not going to show you from the north or east or south or United States or Australia. English is going to be above regional variation. Why? Because we're going to hide the person speaking, because what counts is the objective truth. So there is ideology in academic English. Now, what I'm going to do in the videos that follow is just explain those particular points one by one, and I'll add a little bit at the end about the use of deictics and some Latin. Okay, enjoy the trip.